Okay, this video is a recap of our lesson on multiple representations of equations. We're starting on page 195. And on page 195, it gives a scenario where 10 prints cost $1.20. And it asks us to find out how much it would be for one print. So the basic idea here is it's kind of like scaling down, where we divide our $1.20 by 10 prints, and that will find what one print would cost. It would be 12 cents. And then we're going to use that for our equation here. We would define our variables. We're saying P represents the number of prints, and C represents the cost. And so our cost depends on our number of prints times times 12 cents. So 0.12. So it would be C equals 0.12 P. All right? Because that is the pattern here. To get from this number to this number, we need to multiply by 0.12. And that works because if we do 50 times 0.12, we get $6. Okay? Then we create our graph, and you can see where these points are. And again, we use our table for that. So we go to 10, we go up to $1.20, we go over 32, we go up to 384, and so on and so forth. Okay? Until we have our graph completed. And then tell whether the quantities on this scenario are discrete or continuous. Okay? Well, these, as they are right now, are discrete, because remember, dot means discrete. Line is continuous. So as they are right now, this is discrete. And it says you can connect the line, right? But do all the points on the line make sense? And we would say, no, they don't all make sense, because you couldn't, or you wouldn't want a fraction of a picture, right? You could have a fraction of $1, but you would not want a fraction of a print if they gave you one. Okay? So over here on the next page is part of your assignment. This is page 196. All right, and you can see I'll kind of work through some of this. Describe how the cost is related to the number of items. Well, if I go over here, the number of items, 1, is equal to cost of $6. So what does that mean? Well, the cost is number of items times 6. Okay, so if I take the number of items and multiply by 6, I would get my cost. Right now, we're going to define variables. So I put I for item, C for cost. And then I would say that C depends on the number of items times 6. And that should work, because I could test that with 16 times 6 will give me 96, and so on and so forth. All right? So then you need to go ahead and do C, D, and E, okay, mainly graphing this and then answering these questions. All right? And then in our lesson, we went on to page 198. And now we see they give us points on the graph, but they do not give us the data in the table. So we need to fill that out. All right, so we basically fill in a label at the top of our table. And we want to put time here in this first column, because it is our independent variable. And we put that in minutes. And here's our distance in miles. All right, so we look at our number 1. This dot is above 1, and it's across from 10. So in 1 minute, it goes 10 miles. In 3 minutes, it goes 12 miles. In 5 minutes, it goes 14 miles. And in 8 minutes, it goes 17 miles. All right? And so our variables, T is going to represent time, D is going to represent distance. And so our distance depends on our time plus 9. Now, look at this. We could multiply 1 times 10 to get 10, but that wouldn't work in the rest of our examples, right? So what we have to do here is we add 9. So T plus 9 will give us our D. Okay? So then, how far is the train from the station in 20 minutes? Well, I need to put 20 in for time, so 20 plus 9 would be 29 miles. And does all these points make sense? Well, yes, it does. Yes, they do, I should say. Because you can have a fraction of a mile, and you can have a fraction of a minute. So really, all these points would make sense. Okay, then you need to go and do the same thing. Here's your graph, and you need to write down the data on the table and then figure out the relationship between them. Okay, and then answer these questions down here. Now be careful, this first line is not 1, okay, because if you're counting by ones, you're not going to get from 0 to 10,000 by counting by ones. So think through what you have to count by there. All right, thanks for watching.